We've got this couple of the O'Sullivans, yeah? Probably maybe just look back at the example 1 here. Refresh our memory. Margaret and Brian O'Sullivan, married. How many kids do they have? We're going to assume this child is underage 19. They didn't say, right? Like, why bother including that you have a child in the problem if you're not going to use the child's tax credit thing, right? Yeah, because because under 6 this year, there's like you get like more money or something. I don't know. It seems like teenagers cost more, but.
Yeah, really, that seems really dumb.
And what does she do for a living?
Cameraman? No, he's a cameraman. She's a.
Yeah, just have look at example 1. We want to refresh our memory here.
Sports cable station.
She worked for a sports cable station, and he's a cameraman, right? They gave the address, and that was all pretty simple, right? So we have some forms and whatnot, right? Remember the standard deduction, right? Versus itemized deductions. We're not going to do itemized here. I can't remember if I did that last time I taught that. I think I might have. But anyway. Don't forget, whether you itemize your deductions or you take the standard deductions, there's still others that you can take. Student loan interest, property tax, mortgage interest, etc. Okay, and the dependents thing. Okay, so to take these, you don't have to itemize other stuff separately. That makes sense? Okay, and the difference between a deduction and a credit, what's a deduction actually do?
How many money you have to.
It actually what?
Produces.
Lowers your actual taxable income, right? Which either will be a percentage, your tax will be a percentage of less money, which is less money, or move you into a lower bracket maybe, right? And what is a credit? Yeah, it's almost like credit for like taxes paid, if you think of it that way, right? Because now credits, by the way, like even if you owe no tax, and then you find out you have a $500 tax credit, they send you a check for $500, even if it's a wash, okay? Because it's kind of counted, credit is like, okay, we'll give you credit for having paid this much in tax already, and so it can get refunded to you if you overpaid, okay? Then there's different things that give you credits, okay? Then we started example 1, basic stuff, getting the name and address and everything, into the 1040. That part wasn't too tricky. Oh, there it is. Okay. And we know the different schedules. You guys had that where you wrote it down, right? Because most of these we're going to be using a Schedule 1 on, and some of them will need to use a Schedule B. When are we going to need to use Schedule B? When interest and dividends are over $1,500, right? Dollars. Okay. And I think I was mistaken yesterday. You don't go put them on Schedule B and then on the Schedule 1, right? It's just on the Schedule B. Yeah. That's fine. Where did we leave off then? What example? 2. I wanted to get to 3. Okay. So example 2, we get into Schedule 1, right? And we went. So let's go see what we did. Oh, other way. So we had to check the filing status up here, right? Married filing jointly, name, social security numbers we made up, address, all that stuff. We'll question about virtual currency. Concerned about that. And then your dependents get listed down here. Daughter, I think you can put child here even too, right? That's fine. Doesn't make a whole lot of difference. And she is eligible for the tax credit, so you check that. Not necessarily the other one, the other box. This would be again like your great uncle who's drooling or whatever you got to take care of. Probably check that box over there. So we have some numbers, right? And they didn't put a W-2 in here, but I would rather they set it up where they actually take it by looking at a W-2 in the different boxes, right? So this would normally, the wages come from the W-2. And the interest and dividends, we had to go to what for that? That was our Schedule B. Oops, the other way. Which is There's Schedule 1, the other side. So there's Schedule B, right? And you want to get first and last name, social security number again. What banks paid you the interest? Now, how, like, the bank is, remember, going to send you a Form 1099. Remember that form? I wish they would have included that here so you can see it, right? But the Form 1099 will tell you, okay, we're this bank, and we paid you this much in interest last year, okay? And that'll be at a 1099 int, interest. And if it's dividends, you'll get a Form 1099 div, right? And you'll put that 1099 div information down here, okay? And then total it up. And then there was this part 3 that I missed, and one of you guys caught, right? Where you had to answer if it was over 1,500, you got to go down and complete part 3. Just want to know that stuff. Yeah, either way, okay? So there's that. So then, now this will come back and be put where? Where did we put these numbers? Because it'll tell you, right? Read the line. Read line number 4. Enter the result here and where? On the Form 1040, never mind the other SR. Where on 1040? You guys see where it tells you that, right? Okay? So we'll highlight that. Highlighter. Right? And on Form 1040, line 2B. Okay? And then this other one here, where do we put that? Line 40, to the Form 1040, line 3B. Okay? It's not like you have to memorize a bunch of stuff, right? There's little clues in the forms as you fill them out, all right? And I think that's where we left off, right? Was taking that back and then putting those numbers back here on our 1040. And I just indicated Schedule B. You don't have to actually write that. And by the way, you're probably doing this in pencil right now, but you should do it in pen if you do it for real. Okay. All right, so we're on to example 3, I believe. Is there anything, we didn't really fill anything else out there, did we? Okay. All right, example 3. It's all the same couple. Casper, what's going on with there? Oh, do you have the forms for this? No. Okay. These out yesterday, you know what I did. So here's all the forms we need for this particular chapter. Tax tables. Okay, 1040, all the schedules you need just for this problem are in it. Okay. All right. Well, all right. Cameron, tell us about example 3. Casper's got to catch up.
Margaret won 900 in the state lottery. She was also unemployed for a few weeks to collect $1,341 in unemployment insurance.
Okay, so hang on one second. So she won a prize. Where do we put prize winnings?
In our pocket.
Yes, that's true, Paul. In your pocket. Yes, or under your mattress, but the actual dollar figure will write somewhere.
Schedule B.
Nah, Schedule B.
Would it count as a
Would
dividend? Would it count as a dividend?
No. There's a line for prizes somewhere in one of your documents. Why don't you all take a minute, look over Schedule 1, look over Schedule B, and find something where it says something about prizes.
Why would you tell them?
Or unemployment. Huh?
Why would you tell them about your prizes?
Because if you don't, then you're engaged in tax evasion.
That seems stupid.
No,
No, like-
those tax. Wouldn't you want to? Because wouldn't you get tax write-off for that?
For more money.
Line H on
No,
schedule.
no.
Well,
Not like they're gonna give you a break because you're a winner.
So if somebody won, let's just say $500, they have to put that in there.
Technically, yeah, you have to, right?
What about like, okay, $5 the other day?
What?
$5.
Again, then we're into the big fish, little
Yeah,
fish
where's
thing,
the
right?
limit?
But 500, right, so, and whoever you won the 500 from, there's a record of them paying that out to you, right? If they gave you a check, then you had to cash that check, so that record is in your bank, right?
How about $100?
Again, it goes back to big fish, little fish, and is there a record of the transaction? Like if you and I bet $100,
Oh, wait,
right,
what about
and you
like,
win, and I pay you $100, don't go reporting that call.
well, yeah, what if you put it in like the lottery machine, and then you win $100?
I found it.
Yeah, then it's a record. Where'd you find it, Jackson? What schedule? What form? Schedule 1,
Part 1 additional income, H.
8H. Aha! So we see prizes and awards here, right? Now, what about our unemployment? Schedule 1, line 7 for the unemployment, right? It's usually a good idea to scan over these forms just to get a sense of where stuff is. And most of them we're not going to use, right? But doing that, if you found it on your own, you'll probably be able to find it again next time, right? All right, we'll keep reading that, Cameron.
Brian has a small side business making leather crafts. Taxable income from that is $698.
Okay, so he has a side business. He has profit from business, doesn't he? Any idea, gentlemen, what form we might use for business profit and loss? Schedule C, right?
I remember that one. This is some.
Profit or loss from business. Okay? So example 3, we're going to be all over these documents, aren't we? Now, I would say you guys might be better off, I don't know, like sitting with 2 desks side by side, right? So you can have stuff, we can pull the staples out or whatever. It's up to you. So you can separate the. No, I'm just saying, that's how I would rather. What I'm saying, it's up to you. Okay? So the man wrote a jingle and he gets royalties from his jingle. Way to live. Okay, now where will that go? Schedule 1, yeah, it looks like line 5. But what does line 5 say? Well, it also says some other things. Aha! So we're going to need Schedule 1, Schedule C, and Schedule E for this one. This is what the government requires. Well, now keep in mind, listen, we're doing this by hand, right? It's the way we always had to do it forever and ever. But nowadays, right, you got tax software where you just like basically go through the screen by screen and answer questions, and it automatically fills out the proper forms for you, so that you can learn, right, but and appreciate it for us. Because somebody's got to know how to do this stuff, to write the software, to know what form. You could be that person. Okay.
If anything, I'd be the.
Or, what's the point?
That's my place.
Is that more tangible for you?
Yeah.
Okay, good. There we go. All right, so look. So again, it's like you have to memorize and know everything exactly. A lot of the stuff is hinted at here. And also, by the way, every form has a set of instructions, right? There's a big booklet, the 1040 instructions, several pages, and it's line-by-line instructions, okay? So that's available as well. We're going to try to do it without that. Right? It's like putting something together without the directions, right? When you get home, we're going to do it. We're going to do it without the instructions. They call it. All right, so we better start putting stuff somewhere. Okay? So let's start out with the prize money from the lottery. Where do we say that's going? Schedule 1. Yep.
Well, actually, would that be gambling income or prizes?
We're going to call that prizes. I know you can think of the lottery as gambling because you put money at stake.
No, I mean like either or.
So, how much did she win? $900. So that goes on 8H. Okay? And she also had some unemployment, yeah? Where's that one going?
7. So if both of them were getting unemployment, we would add them together.
Yeah, you'd add them together, yes, right? Because when you file jointly, it all gets added, yes, right? So now her unemployment, for the year, she was paid $13.41. Okay? And how about the royalties?
The 5 would be.
Line 5, and he made how much for the jingle? So 1988 here, right? Was there anything else that should go on here? Maybe.
Let's use C.
Right, but look here. So it's got to go on there. I think that's why I was thinking with the Schedule B yesterday, right? But this is going to go, the business income, what was his profit?
690.
Yeah. So 698 goes here, and what does it say to attach? Okay, so we need to go to Schedule C. Here's what I'm going to tweak it just a little so it makes Schedule C a little more
His
meaningful.
business income for the whole year was 600.
Is what?
Another word.
What, Paul?
Business income for the whole year was 698.
That's what it says,
It's
yeah.
not what he does for.
It's a side hustle, yeah.
It's like when it's like selling stuff on
side
Etsy.
sales.
Okay, so now, we need to get to Schedule C and Schedule E. Let's go to C first for the business income. What I want to do, let me just make a note about, let me go back to the notes about what I'm going to change a little bit. So for example 3, okay, so we know we're going to need Schedule 1, right? And then Schedule what? C and Schedule E, yeah? Okay, but what I want to assume for the business, I wrote this down, again, to make this a little more meaningful. What do I do? I'm going to say, use the fact that he had 1,500 in revenues from that business, right? And they had $802 cost of goods sold. That's another way of saying expense. Cost of goods sold. Sheldon, you took accounting, you looked at a company's balance sheet, right?
Yeah.
COGS, cost of goods sold, is kind of analogous to expenses, right? And so if I subtract that minus from the revenue, what's that come to? Should come to 698. That's how I set that up, right? Again, I wish they'd set it up like that. So let's go to
Well, how do we know it's 1,500?
I made it up.
So,
Wait, you used it for the 1,500 for an over thing?
Yeah, they didn't have it. All they said was he made 698.
Right.
Okay.
but that's just another.
And I said, okay, we need to schedule C. So I thought, well, all the stuff on Schedule C is going to make more sense to you if we at least have some revenue and expense to put in there.
Gotcha.
Okay. So they were a little slim in the example. Oh, there's Schedule C. All right, so let's take a look at Schedule C. And if it's getting attached, need name and social on it, right? Ryan and Margaret. It's a joint return. Yeah, remember it all gets combined. Oh, Sullivan. If it was just going to be him, he'd be like married filing separately, which is that odd thing. Doesn't happen too often. And it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? And what type of business was it? Crafts, right? Leather crafts. So I would just like principal perfect, just crafts. Maybe something like that, right? Don't get too nuts. I didn't say anything about business name. Okay? And we can assume he worked at home, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, or out of home. So the business address would be his home address, right?
Well,
12, yep. Rum, whatever. Are you Rum Bottom? Rum's Bottom? Arlington, New York. And 12603. Okay. Now the accounting method. Again, if you take an accounting, you know the difference between the cash accounting and accrual accounting. Accrual accounting is the type that generally accepted accounting principles for business, right? Like accrued accounts payable count as an asset, right? Even though you don't actually have the money in your hand, right? Or accrued accounts, or not accounts payable. Accounts payable would be a liability. Accounts receivable, right? Even though you don't have the cash yet. But if you're running your own business, you're not going to really count anything with the cash in your hand. So the accounting method he's most likely going to use would be cash, right? So we count real live dollar bills as they come and go from your pocket in this type of, small side business. Okay? I doubt he has, an account, the local leather supplier, that kind of thing, right? Did you materially participate in the operation of this business? I would say he did, yeah? So yes, it wasn't like something he set up and had someone else run. Yeah, so.
Wait, so if you don't, so you do have side business, but you don't put it on step receipt, what then? You don't get taxed for it, and you get tax evasion, or?
No, they'll probably kick it back and say that you need to, if you file it, say you're missing a form there, we require for this, and then you'll have to complete this and send it back in, kind of thing.
Why do you have to do it?
They said so.
Just to
They say so.
balance, I guess?
This schedule versus just putting it on the
This is for
schedule.
them? Just for them?
This is for the IRS.
Just for them? No one else spending this?
Yeah.
That's,
Well, look at all these forms. Would you do any or all of these forms for yourself?
well, if I.
Like for your own satisfaction? I think I want to fill out some forms
Man, I want to do taxes.
just for me. I'll do extras for me. No, it's for them, right? So yes, we materially participated in running the business. And you probably want to answer, did you make any payments that were required to fill out Form 1099? So in other words, a 1099 is a form that somebody gives you if they give you money, right? Pay you money. I doubt that he was a supplier of income to anybody for this, okay? Like maybe a side contract or something. I doubt that. It didn't say anything. It sounds too simple for that. So we're going to say no here, okay? The next one is if yes, then so if you check no, as soon as you see if yes, move on, okay? All right. So now gross receipts. Remember, this is where I'm going to say the revenues were $1,500, okay? So $1,500 in revenues. This is where I'm changing it from the book, okay? Returns and allowances, right? That's like, okay, someone bought something, effectively didn't like it, and they brought it back to you, you gave them the money back kind of thing, right? But then you couldn't, so that's like a loss, or one of your piece of inventory broke, stolen, right? That's that kind of thing. So we assume nothing there. And subtract line 2 from 1. No. 1,500, okay? Why would I bother doing that? Because I'm going to refer back to line 3 at some point. Otherwise, I wouldn't put anything in there. So why did I bother filling out line 3 if there wasn't anything subtracted? Because look down here at line 5. What does it say to do? Line 3, right? So we need something in there, okay? Even though it's useless otherwise, right? Now, cost of goods sold. Line 42. We're not going to get that nuts, okay? On the back, there's a way to calculate your cost of goods sold. But we're just going to write down the fact that the cost of goods sold, the expenses were $802, okay? So line 4 will be 802, all right? Now, what's the next line, line 5 say? All right, and what do you get? That's your 698, right? So set that up deliberately. Line 6, other income, I'm going to bother with that. And now line 7, gross income? 698. Okay? Now, I mean, you could go and list all your expenses too. It's probably something you might actually do if you had this business. But now let's skip down here to total expenses. Line 28, what does it say to do? Yeah, but read the line, right?
Or expenses for business use at home.
That part. Okay. Well, did we have anything in there?
No, they.
No. So that's zero. I'm gonna go ahead and put a zero in there, right? And now what's line 29 say?
Line 28.
Right? So that's why I did put something in 28 there, I guess, right? So 28 from 27. What was line 27? 698, right? Why did we not have, hold on, let me see. Oh, from line 7, not 27, line 7, yep. So now we have our 698. I'm trying to get to a line where it says, enter this here, and then on line blah, blah, on form 1040, okay? How about 30? Starts with, I'm not going to do any of that, all right? So it's going to be a 0. And then 31, net profit or loss. Subtract line 30 from 29. Okay? And what do we get? 698. All right? Now, read below, read right under where I just highlighted there. What's it say to do? Is this a profit? Then where do we put it? Schedule 1, where on Schedule 1? Line 3. So let's go to Schedule 1, line 3, and put that 698. Oh, that's Schedule B. Line 3. Oh, we already got it there, right? We did that. Okay. So if we hadn't, we go back there. All right, let's go back to our Schedule C. And where else do we put this? We're not doing an SC. That's not what we're going to do, but keep reading. We did that. 1040. Oh, 1041. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. Okay. Either way. All right, so I think we have it here. Now, what happens if you had a business loss? Right, and then you could end up getting a little, there's where you can get a little tax break, right? Okay. Can I get that now? Now, there's more with example 3, isn't there? What have we not done in example 3? Huh?
We need to fill out
Schedule E, yep, which is for,
supplemental.
okay.
What does that apply to?
And that's going to apply to, let's see here, the royalties, right? So go take a look at Schedule E now. Here's Schedule E. Scan it over. Give me an idea where you think some stuff should go for his royalties. It's almost like this form is overcooked for this. Kinda. Let's get their names on here. And Margaret. Oh, Sullivan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Okay, this is the overcooked part. This is kind of weird, right? So, nothing here applies to us. There's no physical ed because this is a Roy. He wrote a jingle, right? So, I guess it's property. The jingle is his personal trademark property, I guess you could think of it that way, right? Huh? is it an asset he's making money off of? Like if,
Technically,
if an artist writes a song, is that their property?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's an asset, yeah, so, kind of. But, so, 1B, what does it say here? And it says other stuff. Look at the list below. It says more than commercial. Okay?
Royalties.
And other.
All right, so we're gonna put, so, listen, A, B, and C, there's spaces for 3 different properties on here. If you had more, you'd have an extra form, Schedule E, to fill out, right? So we're gonna, property A, okay? Is gonna be number what? We're gonna put a 6 in here, okay? We got that? So that's this, right here. That's what. All right? Now let's go down to the income from this endeavor. Did he receive rents, line 3? He received what there in line 4? Okay, so now we're getting to it. Royalties received. And we can put, and now again, this would be for each separate property. Let's say it was rental properties. He'd have like 3 different addresses, wouldn't he? The 3, okay? So this is just one property, his jingle. And that'll go over here in A, and that was our 1988. Okay? We're not going to worry about expenses here because it's a jingle. I don't know what he was put out for the jingle. So none of that stuff applies. Okay? So now we got to get down to line, well, let's see. If we're not applying expenses, we don't worry about the total expenses line. So 21, subtract line 20, the total, which is 0, right? From line what? Okay? So we got 21. So from line 4, okay? And what do we end up putting here? The 1988. Come on, Paul, this is great stuff.
Like seriously, it ignores me.
Some people love that stuff. I have a feeling, though, once I turn you loose on your own, and the example, the problems in the book, I think you'll start getting a little excited. There's a certain, yeah, a certain cathartic value to working this out, getting all the numbers right, I guess. It's not something I would do for a living, but I kind of understand it, right? But I understand it sucking, too. Yeah. Yes?
What if you have a rental property in like the Caribbean? That would still go on this form?
You live, are you a citizen of the United States? That's income? Yeah. I'm sure there's probably some other form that would apply more directly to asset, revenue generating assets in foreign countries. I don't know what that would be. I don't know what form that would be. Might be this one, I don't know. Okay, so what are we got to do, let's go down to, so is an income or a loss? Okay, so we're going to go down here to 24, right? Add the positive amounts shown on line, so what they mean is any, like cross here, line 21, and there's only one there, right? So we're going to go here and put 1988. Next one will be like a loss. Now, what do we have here? Total rental, real estate, and royalty income or loss. So we're going to do what? The 25 to 0, right? So that'll be 1988. And then what does it tell us to do with this?
Put it on line 5.
On Schedule 1, line 5, for 1988. Okay, so we're getting our forms in the bag here. Paul's getting excited. I gotta go back. Schedule 1, line, what? Line 5, and we got it there. And so there's our Schedule E. We've got the Schedule C that'll get attached to this, so we're in good shape. Okay? So I think that was it for example 3, yeah? Whew. Goodness gracious.
What about the other side?
Other side of what?
Partnerships and-
Yeah, right, like I said, most of the stuff in these forms lines, you're not gonna even confuse, okay? But, I guess that means there's flexibility built in, which also is confusing. All right, let's flip over to example 4. I think they go a little. Yeah, so you see, like, if you look on page 361, they showed you the heading for Schedule C and for Schedule E, but they were too chicken to have you fill it out. I'm not scared.
Good for you.
No, that's for you. Ain't skirt yet. Hurricane. All right. Let's go to example 4. And I'm gonna, again, this is where I'm gonna tweak the, I think the daughter. I said that wrong.
There's 9 examples. Only in 4.
But this is great, Sheldon.
This is so bad.
This is quality time.
How did that?
So we're gonna assume, is this the right, what is that example say? What's the result of total income line 78 line? Before we do that, okay?
We actually missed a part of example 3. They wanted us to add all of the additional incomes together, put it on the 1040.
Oh, we didn't put it on the 1040?
We did not.
Oh,
Not,
yeah.
not the total, the whole.
All right, yeah, we better do that. Let's go back and do that. Thank you, Cameron. I told you this would be a little bit.
We don't want to be avoiding our taxes.
We want to avoid that, not evade.
We want to avoid
Right. So we need to put that over on
All the way down to line 9.
line 9.
On schedule 1. Add them all together.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Just adding them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's go back. That's okay. Go back to schedule 1. Yeah, we never did add these. So first of all, what does line 9 say to do?
Total other income, add line J8 through 8Z.
And what do we get when we add that up? 900. And 1 through 7 and 9. And then do what? Line 8. So what does that add up to? 4927. Yeah. Good catch there, Cameron. We would have found it eventually. Yeah, in sequence, yeah. So we're going to put that on line 8 of our 1040. Be easy. Line 8. Okay? So that there, and that line is going to be, what was it, 42 what? 4927. Okay, yeah. Yeah, now,
Doesn't the Form 1040 determine your tax bracket?
I think.
yeah, well, yeah. Let's continue on here a little bit, actually, before we go back to example 4.
Yeah.
Let's do this. All right, get the total income. We're going to add all those together. You guys get, just double check. Is it 104, 781? Yeah, but double check it.
Yeah.
Okay. And do we have any adjustments from Schedule 1, line 26? Go take a look at Schedule 1, line 26. We'll look. We didn't do anything with that, right?
No.
Okay, so we're good there. Now, let's do line 11, and then we'll get to the other one. Subtract line 10 from 9. This is the AGI, adjusted gross income. This is the income amount like when you go to apply for a loan, when they ask you for your AGI. This is where you get it from. And it is just this 104, because there's nothing there, right? Okay? Now, the next line. We're not gonna itemize, right? So you see the next line? Now, if we itemized, we'd have to include a what? Schedule A. We're gonna take a break. So we're gonna do the standard deduction. Now, this is a couple, and what's their filing status?
Jointly filing jointly.
Easy as this. See that? So what are we putting on that line? There you go. So that goes over on 12A. 12A, 25, 100. Okay? Charitable contributions? You kidding me? Charity? Come on.
Don't you get a $1,000 tax write-off?
It's not worth it.
$1,000.
Okay, come on. Hey, zero. Let's keep it simple. It's already getting messy. Let's keep it simple, all right? And now C says we're going to do what? 12A, 12B. Let's add them. That's easy. 25, 100. That's our standard deduction. Remember our AGI? Okay? We're not doing qualified business, right? We need line 14, right? Because we refer to it down here. So line 14 will be what? 25, 100. And finally, line 15 says to do what? Okay, subtract line 14 from 11. Tell me what you get. What is that? Yep. 79,681. 79,681. So that's going to be their taxable income, and we'll get to that here in a little bit, right? We still have the other side to work out if he has any credits or anything, right?
So, how do we figure out how much is gonna have to pay?
Well, then remember the tax tables.
Tax bracket.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
God.
It's not hard.
No, it's oddly like the most boring thing I've ever done. It's weird.
I can't believe that, Paul.
It's true. It's like it'll put me to sleep. So weird.
I just can't believe that this is the most boring thing you've ever done.
No, it is.
Come on, man. Oh, okay. Let me see here. Yeah, let's go before we do example. Yeah, let's flip this over. Okay, so keep this number in mind. Okay, or keep it handy. Go to the other side. Let's look up the tax. Get your tax tables. I don't know if I put them on here or not. God, this is a lot. I got the page we need. So what was the income? Oh, I thought I had it. Oh, I don't have it. Never mind. It's on the next page. And remember, you got to find that little interval and the correct column for married filing jointly. Let's see if you guys get the tax right. 9163. There we go. Now you're getting excited, aren't you? Okay. Amount from Schedule 2, Line 3, we didn't do anything like that. Okay. Add lines 16 and 17. So we need that here. Usually if they tell you to add 2 lines up, even if one of them is 0, you kind of need it there because then, again, later on they'll refer back to line 18. Okay? Don't worry about it. Which means I don't know. All right. Now 19. Okay. Now, this is where we might get into the, so it's either going to be like line 19 or 28 for child tax credit stuff. Okay? So now, okay, we're going to assume child under 19 and over 6, okay? And we're gonna need to do Form 8812. And the little worksheet.
They just pick up random.
I don't know. Don't tell me a dream, I think. Okay?
I wouldn't be surprised if they just kind of roll the dice and pick the numbers they like.
Maybe. Probably it's designed to cause us to believe that they're far superior to us. I don't know.
We can make them have real numbers.
Okay, so y'all have a schedule 8812, right? Find that. 8812. So Ryan and Margaret O'Sullivan. What are you tired of?
Ryan, Margaret. Like, these things fix, like,
Because they're a very annoying couple. They wear the same sweaters, stuff like that.
Oh, are they part of the homeowners association?
Yeah, it probably wrote the bylaws. Okay. So let's look at the first, child and tax credit for other dependents. So what's it say in this first line?
so the amount from line 11.
And what is the amount in line 11? 104,781. Okay? So I'm going to have you guys, I'm going to try it this way. I'm going to highlight the ones we need to look at. Fill out here. That one. And then there.
From Puerto Rico, that we exclusion.
Oh, that's off the books. Shh. From
Puerto Rico,
the Guatemala revenue coming in. You know. People have things taped to their colon when they get back.
It sounds so fast aggressive. That we know you didn't act. Because you're
So we got
an idiot.
for C, and we need line 5, and we need 8 and 9, and we are going to have to go to the worksheet here. So before you get to line 5, you have to go to that worksheet to be able to put a number in there, okay? Everybody got that? So 8, 9, and we'll need line 10. And then 12 and 13. 12, 13. And since we checked box in that one, we got to go to. We got to do this here. Okay, so we need line 14A. And on this one, I put like all zeros in because it helped me think about it. We're pretty much going to need all of this. Okay? All right, so you guys just fill this out. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm serious. Let's see where you go. I mean, you're doing it in pencil, or you can fix it. Because you have to do it on your own here with a little bit, like, tonight. I'm going to give you things here. It's simple. They're a little simpler than this, so it's not that bad. Yeah, go ahead. Do it, man. Just remember, when you get done with line 4, okay, 4C, you need to pull out that line 5 worksheet for this 8812, which is behind it. Okay? All right, 204,781.
This doesn't look like.
So it's got 1 qualified dependent there, 0 here, and 1 minus 0 is 1. When you get to the point where I'm at now, you got to go to the line 5 worksheet.
Are you able to tell me if I got it right?
Which part of it? The bottom of the
What line 5 is?
3,000. You got 3,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was so like redundant.
Yeah, I know, right? It's weird. I mean, but that's yeah. What do you do?
What?
You okay?
Well, looks like I'm getting negative numbers, but that doesn't.
Yeah, it says if it's negative.
There's an if negative, right, then put 0 in.
Just read for
Yeah, read it, yeah. The directions are like really specific here. Read the directions for the line, because it'll tell you what to do if you subtract and you get a negative number.
Go back to it.
Yeah, well, let me fill this out here.
Oh.
1,
I don't know, that's the problem.
so your line 5 worksheet, you should have ended up with the bottom line of $3,000. So if you're working on that now, make sure you get that. Line 4 should be 2,000, line 3 is 3,000.
What do you put on line 6?
On the worksheet,
On, yeah,
What?
line 5 worksheet.
12,500 is what it says.
Oh, married filing.
Yeah, so they give you the number to break for married filing jointly. All right, so you guys caught this part, right?
Wait a second.
I got 4,600.
Down here?
Yeah. How?
Well,
Why?
it had nothing in line 1 or 0, right? 3, 3, 2, 1, yeah?
No.
You didn't have those?
Got the first one. Subtract 8.
We have a 0 in 4B.
Oh, it's 4.
Yeah. So, right, yeah, this is, it does. Sal, one little mistake carries out right to the end of this whole process.
That's super awesome.
You gotta be tight, dialed in, man. Can't be a fool. All right?
So lines 9, 10, 11, 0.
Well, line 9, so subtract 8
Oh, okay.
from line 3, and if 0 or less, enter a 0, right?
So needlessly complicated.
Yeah, well, I know. But the whole kit, right? So there's like a difference, like, so then it's like, this is also gonna account for the children under 6, where you get $3,600, or the, like, non-child dependent, right? Where you're getting like $500 a piece for each of those. And this is kind of what they came up with, you know, for you to determine which one. So I'm able to actually get 3,000 down here. Okay, and then you went back to the 8812 and put that on line 5.
Yeah, good going. One more, I think.
What do these guys do wrong?
Okay? Number of defense lieutenants who are not underage. 18. So that's like your kid at home that's 20 or 21. Yeah, just a lot like that. You know, that kid was. What's that, Casper? 14. What? Which one? I put, on this worksheet, I like to put the zeros. That's why I circled the whole thing.
So I just put.
Like, as I was going through this, I'm like, I feel better on, I know you don't have to. It helped my mind work through if I actually actively put a 0 in some of these, okay? What'd you guys have for line 8? 3,000. Okay. Now about for line 9? How do you know that?
Tells you.
Tells you right there, right? And line 10? Yep. How about 11? And then line 12?
Zero.
Nope.
1,000.
3,000. Okay? Yeah. And which box are we checking here? We have a principal place of abode in the United States? Yeah, that's where we live, right? So there. And since we checked that box, we got to go down here, right? So what goes in 14A?
Zero.
The smaller of those would be 0. And 14B?
3,000.
3,000. Or 0, doesn't matter.
Sure.
I'll go with 3,000 just for kicks. Yeah.
Zero.
And then C and D are going to be 0, aren't they?
Yeah.
Smaller of this, smaller of that. Right? Looks like a 6, but whatever. And then E,
1,000.
there's 3,000.
Whoa.
Right. Well, like if you had a different tax situation, you'd have some other than zeros in it,
Now
right?
they just open.
Yeah. Okay. And then F,
Zero.
0 again, because this doesn't match anything that is in our life. Oh, there's a caution there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, danger. Will Robinson, right? Okay. This advanced, so this part here about advanced child tax credit payment, that's like what they've been kind of helping with the COVID relief, where they're sending some checks out to people for things, and that's one of them, so they've kind of been paying you in advance for your child tax credit. And so then you don't get that twice, right? Okay. So 14, we're going to assume that we didn't get any of those this year, right? Or they didn't. So that was G. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that was F. I meant, yeah, that was F. Yeah, G is 3,000. What's H is 0 and I? Okay. Now, what do we do with that? 28 of your 1040. We go back to our 1040. Line 28. That's down here, $3,000.
All of that. for fees and-
Right? That's from our 8812, okay? That's from Schedule 8812. Baby. Yeah, I didn't want that. Okay. Well, yeah. Why don't we pause it here? Example 4, was there anything else in that one? Really pressing on us?
No, that was all.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be just line, you said that? I think we moved past. I think we did.
Probably a little bit, yeah. All right, we'll pause it there, and we'll pick this back up tomorrow, finish the notes out here for this tomorrow. So, I'll stop this.